I teach people how to get excited about stepping into the unknown. The tools of improvisation are so good for pushing people past that fear, because so much of what we have to do when there is no script is make it up and deal with the mistakes. And when you can get comfortable and confident doing that, there's really nothing you can't do. I'm Dave Collins. I'm the founder and CEO of Oak and Reads, and I'm a facilitator, speaker, and coach. I teach a lot of different skills. I teach communication skills, I teach leadership skills, and most importantly, I help people deal with the unknown. My first ever job was as a tour guide for the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. And I got that job at my senior year in high school. I got paid minimum wage. We didn't really get paid much at all, but I got to go to Fenway every day during the summer and then lead groups around the ballpark on these hour-long tours where we told stories, we made really corny jokes, and sometimes the tours were groups of third graders at summer camp, sometimes they were senior citizen groups. They were hilarious. And then we got to hang out at the end of the day and just watch the game. And it was pretty awesome. And that's how I got to go to my first World Series game. It started, honestly, in high school, where I tried out for and joined our high school's improvisational team, where I learned the art and magic of improvisation, and I fell in love. Part of what I love about improvisation is it's this empowering, magical feeling where you get up on stage with someone else or a group of people and you create something from nothing. The other half of my career, how I got into this work, is I worked as a change management consultant. And if you've ever tried to help a professional change something about their work, it is not an easy process. And I learned early on in my 20s what it takes to get someone to do something different. And combining those two halves of my career, the improvisational magic, along with the really tough emotions of change, that's really what sparked my entrepreneurial career and what started this training and speaking business. Anyone can learn this. This is a skill, not a trait. And I've spent the better part of a decade teaching people how to treat this as a skill that can be learned and honed and trained, just like a muscle you might exercise at the gym. Overcoming one's fear of failure is easily the most important part of getting more comfortable with change. Something I always say in my workshops is practice or learning is just a series of controlled failures. Kids know how to make mistakes. We just get taught over time that mistakes are bad and wrong. Adults unlearn the ability to make positive mistakes in service of learning. And what I do is I remind adults and reteach them what they already know. It's fun to be messy. It's fun to make mistakes. It's fun to not know exactly where we're going, but to get there together. Because once you realize that it's a team sport, you can get anywhere if you have the mindset, I'm going to support the people around me. Reteaching this concept of how can I be comfortable and confident messing up and then moving forward. I teach yes and for work and life. How the fundamentals of improv can help people in their career, in their personal lives, and in all of that messy area in between. The tools of improvisation that help people get up on stage, create something from nothing without a plan, those are the same tools that can help people dealing with change at work or in life. Because so much of what we have to do when there is no script is make it up and deal with the mistakes. And when you can get comfortable and confident doing that, there's really nothing you can't do. There's a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to change. Most people start to experience denial or shock when first hearing about something new. Then there's anger, there's frustration, there's sadness, there's depression. All of that has to come before we get to acceptance. What can be so frustrating is those emotions come even for happy changes. And if you know that's coming, you can deal with it. But a lot of people crumble under that unexpected wave or roller coaster of emotion. That's what I like to help people with, to help you anticipate and ride the roller coaster and embrace all of those strong, powerful emotions. Trying to be in the moment, because that's what improvisation teaches you. Improvisation is a way forward for learning, for growing, for doing anything. You're already an improviser. All you need is someone to help you learn how to hone and improve that skill. Teaching the skills of improvisation is another way of teaching humility. This is a skill in many ways that is drastically needed in today's workforce, but humility isn't often what's rewarded. What I love to work on with people is understanding how humility can be a superpower, how being humble and also following the rules of improvisation, of making your partners look good, that at its core is a building block of teamwork. I teach people how to tell their story. So much of what we want to communicate is baked into our lived experiences. And when I help people tell the story of themselves, what comes out of that is such an interesting mix of information and values that is so much clearer than just putting them on a PowerPoint slide. I teach presence, not perfection. What I mean by presence is the ability to be present in a moment, communicate what you feel, say what you think, and get your point across. What I like to do is just allow people to embrace their own point of view, embrace their own eccentricities, their own ways of talking, not have that little voice in their head criticizing and critiquing them all along the way, and instead trying to be in the moment, because that's what improvisation teaches you. It allows you to take each little gift, even if that gift might feel like a mistake or an error, treat it as valuable and build on it. My favorite piece of feedback after one of my talks is, that's the most I've ever laughed in a meeting before. I love bringing humor because humor is the way you can break down people's ego. Making something fun, getting the funny out of people is such a satisfying bit of work to do. What's so satisfying is when the humor and the funny comes from the group and not me. People are hilarious. They often just need permission to be funny. These tools, the tools of improvisation, the tools of dealing with your fear of failure, the tools of working through the unknown, these are tools that unlock some of the funniest ideas I've ever heard. Part of what I love about improvisation is it's this empowering, magical feeling where you get up on stage with someone else or a group of people and you create something from nothing. What it also helped me realize is it's a great tool for walking into the unknown in your life. And later on in my career, it was this incredible superpower that allowed me to basically just say, yeah, I can do that. And here's how else I can do it. We already improvise every single day. There's no script sitting on our desk every single morning telling us exactly what we're going to say, who we're going to say it to, how we're going to feel. Improvisation is already part of who we are and what we do every day. All I do is help people realize how to get better at that skill.